everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Who Wants to Win Millions. I am Jean-Pierre Foucault, and today I am with Tony. Welcome, Tony.
Hello, Jean-Pierre. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you in the show today, dear Tony. I'm gonna do a brief recap of the concept of the show. I'm gonna ask you 5 questions. Each question is worth $200,000, so you better think carefully before answering, because as soon as you give a wrong answer, the game ends. All clear, Tony?
All clear, Jean-Pierre.
Okay, perfect. I hope you're gonna win the 1 million cash prize.
As do I.
Today's subject is an economic event in the 1920s. So let's start with the first question. It is a true or false question. In Germany, in January 1923, a loaf of bread costed 250 marks, and by the end of November 1923, it costed 200 billion marks. Is it true or false, Tony?
It's a very interesting question, Jean-Pierre, but I do have a bit of knowledge in this domain. For example, I do know that Germany financed its First World War effort by printing money. So from 1913 to the end of the war, did you know that the number of Deutschmarks in circulation went from 13 billion to 60 billion? More importantly, Germany's sovereign debt went from 5 billion to 100 billion marks. At first, this fiscal stimulus lowered the cost of exports and increased economic growth. However, when the war ended, the Allies saddled Germany with another 132 billion marks in war reparations. Production collapsed, leading to a shortage of goods, especially food, which concerns your loaf of bread. Because there was an excess of cash in circulation and few goods, the price of everyday items doubled every 3.7 days. Can you imagine? The inflation rate was 20.9% per day. Furthermore, a quick fun fact, I don't know if you know this, Jean-Pierre, the currency became practically worthless, and by November 1923, the US dollar was worth 4,210,500,000,000 German marks, Jean-Pierre. And on that basis, therefore, the answer is true.
Alright. It is your final word.
It is most definitely my final word, Jean-Pierre.
Well, obviously you knew a lot of facts. And it is the great and the only one and good answer. It was true. So actually, this was due to hyperinflation. So let me just make a brief recap of what is hyperinflation for the auditors. Hyperinflation is when the prices of goods and services rise more than 50% a month. Hyperinflation starts when a country's government begins printing money to pay for its spending. As it increases the money supply, prices rise as in regular inflation. An increase in the money supply is one of the 2 causes of inflation. The other is demand pull inflation. It occurs when a surge in demand outstrips supply, sending prices higher. Hyperinflation sends the value of the currency plummeting in foreign exchange markets. The nation's imports simply go out of business as the cost of foreign goods skyrockets. Unemployment rises as companies fold. Then government tax revenues fall, and it has trouble providing basic services. The government prints more money to pay its bills, worsening the hyperinflation, and it becomes a vicious cycle. So, Tony, now you have $200,000. We're gonna go on the second question for another $200,000. Are you ready?
I'm definitely ready, Jean-Pierre.
Alright. Another true or false? Actually, no. This one, you have 4 possibilities. In 1923, people, because of everything we said, were collecting their wages in suitcases, as obviously their wages increased. One worker who had just collected his wage went to a pub and left his suitcase a few meters from him. A thief came in the bar. What happened? A. The thief sat next to the worker and took a beer with him. B. The thief asked the worker if it would bother him if he robbed him. C. The thief stole the suitcase without taking the cash. Or D. The thief stole the suitcase with the cash in it.
It's a good question, Jean-Pierre. But based on what we've previously said and acknowledged, cash was worthless in those days. You agree? So from memory, I believe it was used as fuel So basically the effect on most Germans was devastating. There were huge queues for food and there was food shortages as farmers would not sell for worthless money. A barter economy, as far as I'm concerned, was developed, with people swapping items or services in exchange for essential items. Considering all those facts, I would say, even though it seems crazy, doesn't it, Jean-Pierre? Answer C. The thief takes the suitcase without the money.
So you believe the money was worth nothing and that the suitcase was the only valuable item?
That's my reasoning, yes, Jean-Pierre.
Well, Tony, it is another good answer. Indeed. Well done, Tony. I believe you can be the one who wins the million. So I'm gonna be nice and I'm gonna give you a quick hint for the next question, Tony.
Please do.
Bear in mind that during the hyperinflation in the Weimar Republic, pensioners on fixed income and people with savings were the most badly hit. Considering this, another true or false question. One woman sold her house with the intention of using the money to live on. A few weeks later, the money wasn't even enough to buy a loaf of bread. Is it true or false, Tony?
Well, I feel like this is definitely true, Jean-Pierre.
No thinking required.
No thinking required, Jean-Pierre.
This one you went straight away. And well, that is another good answer, Tony. Indeed, people on fixed incomes, such as pensioners, were particularly hurt as they could not afford the hugely increasing prices. Many members of the middle class who had savings saw the value of their investment wiped out overnight, forcing them into poverty.
It's incredible.
It is crazy, Tony. But what's more crazy is that now we are in front of the penultimate question. Tony, you have $600,000 in your pocket.
Yes.
You can just go back to your wife and sons with 600,000, or you can decide to continue. Take the risk to lose everything, but at the same time you can win 500,000 more, or 400,000 more. Sorry.
I came here to win, Jean-Pierre, so I'm definitely continuing.
Well, I like your mindset, Tony.
My man.
Tony, I hope you're gonna win the million. Let's go back to the question, penultimate question. Some people made fortunes during the crisis. One man borrowed money to buy a herd of cattle, but soon after paid back his loan by selling only one cow. Is it true or false, Tony?
Well, it's funny that because I've read that some Germans did profit from hyperinflation. People had previously been in debt, for example, mortgage holders. They easily paid off their loans, or people on fixed rents or investors could get cheap credit and increase their holdings. So even if paying a loan for a herd of cattle with a cow seems crazy, I would definitely say that is true, Jean-Pierre.
Tony, this is an answer for $800,000. So I need to ask you, is it your final word?
Jean-Pierre, this is my final word.
Tony, let me tell you something.
Please tell me, JP.
This is again the good answer. So Tony, now we are in front of the question for $1 million. Are you ready, Tony?
I am most definitely ready, Jean-Pierre.
Tony, even though you're close, this is still not over. So Tony, considering everything we've said about hyperinflation, and also that hyperinflation had an associated impact on health in Germany too, the rise of extreme poverty and food shortage meant that many people became ill and undernourished. This was especially true for pensioners. So, considering all those facts, do you think Germany managed to fix the situation and stop this hyperinflation?
I mean, after what we've just said, Jean-Pierre, it cannot be possible. Surely not. The desperation, as we've explained. No, not possible, Jean-Pierre. My answer is not true.
And you don't want to change your mind? It's a no for you?
I've been adamant throughout the whole process. I remain. No, not true.
So, Tony, you should have taken your time to answer this question because this is the wrong answer, Tony. I'm sorry. Indeed, I'm gonna explain you how it went. Indeed, so Charles Dawes was the US budget director. In 1923, he was sent to Europe to sort out Germany's economy. Under his advice, the German Reichsbank was reformed and the old money was called in and burned. This ended the hyperinflation. Dawes also arranged the Dawes Plan with Stresemann, which gave Germany a longer time to pay reparations. Most importantly, Dawes agreed to America lending Germany 800 million gold marks, which kick-started the German economy.
That is incredible.
Yeah, Tony, I'm sorry you go back home without the million.
It was a pleasure anyway, Jean-Pierre.
It was a pleasure. We still give you our special edition of our book Hyperinflation in the Republic of Weimar. Thank you for tuning in today for a special edition on an economic event on the 1920s. I am Jean-Pierre Foucault, and it was a pleasure to have you here, Tony.
Pleasure was all mine, Jean-Pierre.
And thank you to all the auditors.